هذا قرار جدا صعب لما انت عم تفكر تترك كل شيء، احلامك، رفقاتك، ناسك، اهلك، قرايبينك. انت عم تترك كل شيء 30 او ثمرت 34 35 سنه وعم تترك تطلع. هذا اكيد هذا الشيء مو سهل. ما بنعرف لامتى حنخلص او امتى حنرجع على بلادنا، فليش ما نكون نحن منتجين فاعلين ببلد اللجوء؟ اول ما تعرفنا على الشعب الاردني واختلطنا ونزلنا على الشوارع وصرنا نشوف نتعرف على ناس، حسيت انه ما في شيء كثير بعيد عن سوريا، عن طبيعه الحياه هنيك، طبيعه الجو، طبيعه الناس، العادات والتقاليد. مؤسسة جاسمين لما بلشنا فيها بال 2014 لغاية هذا اليوم قدرت تكون وطن صغير في الأردن عم يجمع كل هاي الناس اللي كانت بسوريا وتغربت. صارت نقطة وصل بين السوريات والأردنيات والفلسطينيات والعراقيات لمختلف الجنسيات، عملت مزج. فلما عملنا هذا الدمج طلعنا بأفكار رائعة، عملنا بازارات ضخمة لفتت نظر منظمات أجنبية عالمية لروعة المنتجات اللي عم تطلع من المؤسسة. نحن كسوريين في عنا مهارات، في عنا أفكار، في عنا إبداعات بنقدر نحن نستغلها لحتى نعيل أنفسنا ونكون معيل ببلد اللجوء اللي نحن فيه، وليس عالي، نكون نحن مفيدين.
I'm 43 now, so I've been getting tattooed for 25 years, exactly, yeah. And I've been tattooing for 12. But my whole body's covered, head to toe. I went to tattoo conventions and collected magazines even before I became a tattooer because I was a fan. So I would hang out at shops. When I traveled, even with my family, the first thing I'd want to do was check out the local tattoo shop. When I turned 18, my friends were like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Man, I just want to get a tattoo." That's my first. I was living in San Francisco when I got into tattooing. I was tattooed by all of the guys that taught me how to tattoo. There are 4 or 5, 6 of them actually. My fingers are some of my favorites. The top row are what's called the 8 auspicious symbols of Buddhism, Taoism, and Hinduism. The bottom 8 row are what's called milagros, which are Catholic charms. Thumb tattoos are symbols for things that I love outside of tattooing, which are motorcycles and music. Tattooing used to be, as much as it is a trade, a little bit of a lifestyle. You hung out more with other tattooers than you would with, you know, normal people, civilians. The crown jewels of the stuff at Daredevil are the things that are New York based. Our boss, Brad Fink, was a huge antique collector 25, 30 years ago before there was even eBay. And he became so well known as the guy that was looking for this stuff that people started coming to him when their great-grandfather died and they found a trunk of tattoo gear in his basement. They would, you know, contact Brad Fink and say, "Hey, we heard you're the guy that's buying this stuff and paying cash." And Brad would be like, "Yeah, what do you got?" And he would go and he would just buy stuff. When the internet came along, then he was one of the first ones that was actually looking for stuff like that. He has amassed an amazing collection. In the front part of the shop, when people walk in, that case, I think, is dedicated towards tattooing in New York. Hi, Yoon. Oh, Michelle's here. She's better at this than I am. You're up.
This is the Thomas Edison engraving pen that the first electric tattoo machine patent was based off of. That was patented in 1876. It was actually the first patent for a motorized device in America. A lot of the early people getting tattooed in New York City would have been a lot of sailors or just working class people. Although some of the turn of the century tattooers talked about tattooing socialites and stuff like that.
You know, there's things like this up here on the wall, which was painted by Norman Rockwell, a famous illustrator from mid-century, 20th century. And this poster was folded up, and you could see the fold crease lines, and inserted in the Saturday Evening Post. When you bought the copy of March 4th, 1944, you got the poster with it, and people would frame it, put it in their shops. To find an original one that's in this good of a condition is near impossible, and if you find one, you're going to pay probably upwards of $1,000. These circus banners were also from traveling sideshows and circuses from the 20s all the way up to World War II, and even into the 60s. They're all originals. None of these are reproductions. These were all from old carnivals, sideshows, and circuses. My guess from the research that I've done is, you know, even before the first settlers came here, they were Native Americans living here and were making tattoos. So when the Dutch settlers first came and met other tribes that were tattooing, they documented it. You know, they didn't photograph it, but they did drawings of it. I am doing a mock-up sketch for a tattoo design that I was just commissioned to do from a client that I've been tattooing for a few years. Like, I do multiple overlays until I get it right. And the reason the final is done in black ink is because when you make a photocopy, you need to be able to cut out the black photocopy, run it through a thermofax, and the thermofax shoots a light that basically transfers the black image onto like a kind of rice papery film that will then transfer onto the skin. In this case, there's a frame, there's a figure, and then there's also lettering, so I have to use all of my client's laundry list to put into a design that'll fit the body part. So when he comes in for a consultation, I take a tracing of his arm or whatever body part he's doing and know my parameters for the drawing so that it fits nicely when I transfer the stencil to his arm. Every single individual I work with has a completely different idea. Working here, you kind of have to be able to do everything. At Daredevil, we're kind of known as like a walk-in shop as well. So we get a lot of tourists that come to New York, and they don't always want something creative and artistic. Sometimes they want something very simple, like their parents' handwriting that passed away. You know, they want to, or their dog's paw that passed, or so we do a lot of memorial tats.
Now you can get anything you can imagine, literally. I mean, anything's possible. Hyper-realistic tattoos, people like get watercolor tattoos, minimalistic tattoos, or traditional American tattoos. I mean, I think now just there's no limit to what people can get tattooed now. The types of people getting into tattooing are very skilled artists, and so now it's like limitless.
And the number one thing I tell people that are into wanting to get tattooed is it's not a Johnny-come-lately thing where you try it out, see if you like it, and then you quit. It's because of what you're doing to people, because you're permanently marking their skin. You need to stick around long enough in the game to where whatever you do on them the first 5 years of your career, you're going to be around long enough to fix those, because you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So there's a commitment thing. I feel like minimum you should stick around in tattooing is 10 years. If someone comes to me and they're like, I love tattooing, I want to become a tattooer. If I look at them and they have one tattoo on them, I'm going to be very dismissive and judgmental because of how much I love this. I mean, I'm in this for life. I'm going to tattoo for the rest of my life.
3 years ago, 4 asylum seekers in Hong Kong sheltered Edward Snowden in the slums of the Chinese-administered territory. Well, 2 Sri Lankan families and a Filipino woman hid the whistleblower in their tiny apartment in the weeks before he boarded a plane to Moscow. And they say there have been consequences. They've had their welfare benefits slashed, and they're terrified their asylum claims will be denied too. Photojournalist Maria de la Guardia traveled to Hong Kong to photograph the families and took the pictures that you're seeing right now. And Al Jazeera's Dorian Geiger also spoke with Edward Snowden, who said his experience with these families has had a lasting impact on his life. The full story on aljazeera.com.
in guru lo ide guru je to alu ye to sign ase dia in tia di diore 50,000 20000 tia di diore sign lo ho dia toy goro lombora inara in finder ho ga feti dale dua ho gura finder ho lo dua ba ho finder ho re tara god ba be di goro lombor ara goro lombori নিজের গান দাবাই শুন মারি চেষ্টা করি বাসেও আরাম থাই বললা নিজের গান আরাম থাই বললা চিন্তা করছি তো চিন্তা করি ওরে বারে গা তা ধরো মিকে হইলে তোমার রে
Three days ago, there was nobody here. This was just grasslands.
4 by 8. Narrow corridors of cubicles.
The reason we came to the site is because this is the location that people are settling now.
110 right 55
If we're not able to provide healthcare services, that children who get diarrhea, they're at a higher risk of death. There are no water points, there are no toilets. This is the population that was in greatest need at this moment.
Namasha Faraide. I wish Namasha Faraide. Eda I motorogi deri. Ayana Tindimbade Hogi. Fua, Astodine. Amaga had a day, got Furadi Veller in a Homanara Dayagi, did for Ambassade. Added to a feton Sisiatu Hotori. Fat Contu. Gura fat Contu, I didn't like them. Dudin the Dala Parade, Dudin Lagine. Dudin Bade, Tokyo Toy. Tokyo Toy, Godwar, I dead of that. Hadimbori fu alena de Quaderia and the Lagoria Kidin, near the Mazer. They do the Navahari. Gozari and the good. Gura one on the hand there. Oh my God, it's on the hand at the one. For the hand of the one. God, I do I on the Lagoria, I had there.